Assalamualaikum. This is me, Muhammad Zidan Jalvito, and this is my first vlog. Let's check it out. In my first vlog, I want to share about the historical of psychology, the people who are contributed in psychology. Do you know what psychology is? Psychology is a field of science and applied science that studies human behavior, mental function, and mental process through scientific procedure. A person who practices psychologically is called a psychologist. But before I continue, do you know who is the 10 most important people in this circle of psychology? Are you excited? Let's check it out. Do you know anyone who has contributed to the history of psychology? Is anyone know? Okay, I'll tell you now. The 10 most contributed people in the history of psychology, based on my opinion. The first is Frederick Skinner, or we can call him B.F. Skinner. Skinner's stance behaviorism made him a dominating force in psychology, and therapy techniques based on these theories are still used extensively today, including behavior modification and token economies. Skinner is remembered for his concept of operant conditioning and schedule of reinforcement. The second is Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development had a profound influence on psychology, especially the understanding of children's intellectual growth. His research contributed to the growth of developmental psychology, cognitive psychology, kinetic epistemology, and education reform. Albert Einstein once described Piaget's observation on children's intellectual growth and thought processes as a discovery so simple only a genius could have thought of it. Sigmund Freud. When people think of psychology, many tend to think of Sigmund Freud. His work supported to the belief that not all mental illnesses have physiological cause. He also offered evidence that cultural differences have an impact on psychology and behavior. His work contributed to our understanding of human development, personality, clinical psychology, and abnormal psychology. The fourth is Albert Bandura. Albert Bandura's work is considered part of the cognitive revolution in psychology that began in the late 1960s. Bandura's social learning theory stresses the importance of observational learning, imitation, and modeling. Learning will be exceedingly laborious, not to mention hazardous, if people had to rely solely on the effect of their own action to inform them what to do. Bandura explained in his 1977 book Social Learning Theory. Leon Festinger. Leon Festinger developed the theories of cognitive dissonance and social comparison to explain the ways in which social conditions influence human behavior. Cognitive dissonance is the state of discomfort you feel when you hold to conflicting beliefs. You may smoke even though you know it is bad for your health. The social comparison theory says that you evaluate your ideas by comparing them with what other people believe. You are also more likely to seek out other people who share your beliefs and values. The next is William James. Psychologist and philosopher William James is often referred to as the father of American psychology. His teaching and writings helped establish psychology as a science. Among his many accomplishments was the publication of the 1,200-page text, The Principles of Psychology, which quickly became a classic in the field. In addition, James contributed to functionalism, pragmatism, and influenced many students of psychology during his 35-year teaching career. Ivan Pavlov. Ivan Pavlov was a Russian psychologist whose research on conditioned reflexes and classical conditioning influenced the rise of behaviorism in psychology. Pavlov's experimental methods helped move psychology away from introspection and subjective assessment to the objective measurement of behavior. Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers placed emphasis on human potential, which had an enormous influence on both psychology and education. He became one of the major humanist thinkers and an eponymous influence in therapy with his client-centered therapy. His daughter, Natalie Rogers, described him as a model of compassion and democratic ideals in his own life, and in his work as an educator, writer, and therapist. The ninth is Erickson. Erickson states theory of psychosocial development helped create interest and research on human development through the lifespan. An ego psychologist who studied with Anna Freud, Erickson expanded psychoanalytic theory by exploring development throughout life, including events of childhood, adulthood, and old age. And the last is Lev Vygotsky. Lev Vygotsky was a contemporary of some better-known psychologists including Piaget, Freud, Skinner, and Pavlov. Yet his work never achieved the same eminence during his lifetime. This is largely because many of his writings remained inaccessible to the Western world until quite recently. Starting in the 1960s and through the 1990s, but many of his writings were translated from Russian, but his work has become enormously influential in recent decades, particularly in the field of educational psychology and child development. While his premature death at age 38 put a halt to his work, he went on to become one of the most frequently cited psychologists of the 20th century. Thank you. Now you know, right? They are the 10 most contributed people in psychology based on my opinion. If you want to know more about psychology, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.